Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Every year, Art Fair PH Projects is really, I suppose, the heart and soul of that year's fair. This is really the section of the fair that we take a long time planning who we can invite to be featured. It's a lot of debate, a lot of discussion between mainly Lisa, Dindin, and myself, and a lot of back and forth. And it really is, I suppose, whoever the artist is of that year is what people remember. They'll say, oh, was that year when, for example, Kidlat Tahimik was in the fair? So whoever is in the project section really gives character to that year's fair. So this year, we are proud to have with us 3 of our featured artists in the project section, Jigger Cruz, Jonathan Ching, and Andreea Medar. When we choose the artists for the project section, we really try to make it, as the title suggests, as varied and as interesting for our audience as possible. We try to showcase different practices, different ways of approaching art, and I guess different stages in the careers of the artists. Just to mention the other artists in the project section, we have Eugenio Ampudia, which was presented with the help and support of the Embassy of Spain. As Jonathan Jigger, Gian Brix Garcia, who is this year's Karen H. Montinola Selection Grantee. Taloy Havini, who is a Pacific Islander, and she's showing a video also here in the 7th floor. Mr. Star City, who is from Brooklyn, and he is doing his performances and spoken word performances every day in the fair. Yesterday, we had a panel on Rod Paras Perez, because we believe he's an artist that is set to be rediscovered by our audience. Tuklas, which is a mural done in collaboration with the mentees of Esquinita Art Farm under the tutorship of Alfredo Esquilio and Mang Ato Habulan. And of course, we also had a panel on Pambabae exploring the abstraction of female artists whose work may have been overshadowed by their male counterparts from the 60s to the 80s. But anyway, we're very proud today to have Jigger, John, and Andrea give this talk for us to learn more about their work. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricky. Our first presenter is actually Queena Chu, who will be presenting on behalf of Andreea Medar, who's a visual artist living and working in Romania. Her practice includes objects and environments, sculptures, media installations, and video. Since 2017, she has also worked in collaborative projects in Romanian production and costume designer Malina Ionescu. Her images rewrite her own personal imagery in associations with contrasting elements. In her project, she investigates themes such as family history, rural community, ritual, change, dissolution, and persistence. So, Queena, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Actually, I would like to say Andrea is actually here, and she is in her booth in the project space. The reason she couldn't really make it because all the artworks now presented is very deeply associated with her grandparents, and especially her grandmother. But her grandmother just passed away, so she doesn't really want to embarrass herself, start crying in front of you guys. So I would take the pleasure to present her art in front of you guys. I hope it works. So I'm gonna start. The project right now is called Leftover to the Future, but it's actually chapter 2 of this project. So she just present Andrea. So Andrea, I'll just do a brief introduction of Andrea right now. She was born in Romania in 1990s, and 90s is the second years of the communism fell. So his artistic is expressed through installation, objects, and video works, alongside with collaboration with Malina Ines. And her art centers on Rakoti, where is his childhood village in the 90s. Rakoti bring with the viral tradition and folklore documented by a renowned historian. I'm sorry, I have problem to pronounce the name correctly, so I just yeah, right. So it's a traditional dwellings in decay. Right now, the village is almost empty. I will show you images of that. And this contrast inspired Andrea's exploration of change and memory in her art. So in the image, this is the grandparents of Andreea, and this is the village. And so in the artwork, she basically recreated the gardens of the grandfather because the family has over 150 years of the gardening history. For this is the vineyards of the grandmother. And for some artwork, her grandmother actually contribute for the hand stitchings of the plants. All right, this is the Forever Garden, which is chapter 1. So what you are going to see in the project space is chapter 2. I'm going to follow to that, but I'm going to explain this Forever Garden first. So the Forever Garden series is, she recreated the grandfather's gardens and placed the plants exactly where they are originally planted for the centuries. So in the family, the grandfather is the last gardener who passed away 3 years ago. So this project started 3 years ago. She tries to symbolically continue this gardening tradition through her art. The technique she used to create the plants is that of the hand stitching on the plastic, which you can see is semi-transparent or fully transparent. And in the past, one of those traditions dedicated to women in the village was hand stitching. That's why she chooses this technique. So all this detail is hand-stitched by Andreea. And through this series of work, Andreea is not trying to reproduce a garden that existed before, but rather to create the image of the spiritual garden. In her imagination, this garden would have the ability to travel through time and space until it would get to this portion and post-apocalyptic future. In this way, it could connect the future family members with their origins and roots. So this is kind of like an imagination of the garden travel through time and space that connect the whole family from the future to the past. So this is some images to show the details of the plants. And those threads have special coating, so which can absorb the UV light. I guess some of the people were curious why it's shining. It's because we have the UV light to illuminate them, and those coating will absorb light. When you turn off the light, it will keep shining for a while. So these are some rituals and traditions of the villages. This is the grandmother. So also there's a plastic tapestry which I would go on to. So this have the three main parts of this installation. One is the house, and the other is a tapestry, and then this comes with a Arabian book. This is a tapestry. So why she used the transparent plastic? It's used in the village of Thousand, Romania. In that region, it is function as a protector of the manual stitch tablecloths because the women in the village no longer have time to stitch. They preserve the traditional tablecloth inherited from their grandmothers using in their generation, and right now they have to protect this old stuff, so they use this transparent plastic to protect them. So it functions as a protector. So Andreea used this protector to recreate the family scene. So those comes from the family photos. This is what they are celebrating the Easter. So family members gathers and they have dinners. it is like to travels from the past, and Andrea recreate this. So I forgot to mention, it's actually Andrea, she has been trained in painting, but now she decided to use this kind of techniques to say something he really want to connect with the family and the tradition of the villages. So you can still see like the tradition of the painting and use the lines as a hand stitching skill and embroidery to create the portraits of the family members. And these beans are used in ancient Romanian. Whenever they have like weddings and celebration, they will create this kind of crafted ships for to dress themselves. So this is why Andrea used this. And here comes that the series show in the art fair is called Leftovers from the Future. It was inspired by the image of the land dedicated to the gardening. And the year after the last family gardener disappeared, which is her grandfather, the land was completely covered with wild plants, but randomly, she discovered there's vegetables grew, reminding us that there used to be a garden there. So the image deeply moved Andrea because the garden seemed to wanted to be preserved the tradition itself, even in the absence of the gardener. So you will see a metal structure. Show you some detail first. That's the reason Andrea used a lot of like the baby symbols to symbolize life and the inheritance. Okay. So the metal structure existing in the exhibition is shaped like a house. It actually was inspired by the oldest house in the village of her hometown, Rakoti. It's situated currently at the museum, in the village museum. And the house was built in 1926. The design of this type of house was very commonly found in the village during that period. And on the other wall, you can see this. This is herbarium book, is that the things of the student in the village received at school, creating the herbariums with local plants. And her grandfather and his son convert the room in their home into classroom. So this house, exactly from this house. So this house was the school and teaching children to make the herbarium with the plants. So those plants with details, actually people can found in the little house and to retell the story. And she brings us to revisit all the family story and happened in the hometown before and connects the past and the future. So I guess through all this work, Andrea trying to carry on traditions from the village of her hometown, Rakoti, but using a really contemporary materials. Okay, this is the end of the slides. I hope you guys understand what she does.
Thank you, Andrea. Our next featured artist is Jonathan Ching. I've been discovering new information about artists I've been introducing today. He obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. I didn't know that. From the De La Salle University, before he pursued a degree in Visual Communication from the College of Fine Arts at UP Diliman. He's one of the founding members of Surrounded by Water, one of the artist collectives that was founded or active in the 1990s. His works are visual narratives of the everyday, explorations of the city he traverses, and documentations of his experiences. His practice serves both as a personal history and as a purposeful account of the transformation of urban life. He has exhibited in solo and group shows across the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. Please welcome Jonathan Ching.
My name is Jonathan Ching, and I live and work in the city of Manila my whole life. So as artists, we are like sponges, no? We soak up all the different influences and energy and vibes around us. In this case, the city of Manila. So what I do is I usually bike around the neighborhood, taking photographs like this. And most of this, I don't know why I took them, but I was drawn to them for some reason. These are everyday mundane things that don't mean much at first glance, and then usually review them, and when I make some connections with them, they eventually found their way into my paintings. Like these ones. I'm interested in capturing the small slices of our experiences in the city. These are small aha moments and realizations, and when I make the connection, they make me see pictures in a new light, and then eventually they work their way into my paintings. These are some of my paintings, which are influenced by the photographs I take and the city of Manila. These are basically tarps from the city, which for me are like landscapes. So these are landscape paintings. Okay, for this art fair, the genesis for my work is basically the phrase, "They still think we grant wishes." This phrase is, I don't know if I read it somewhere or I just made it up. But this is, for me, this is an imaginary conversation between gods and deities about us humans and the offerings we make in return for favors. So this is where the artworks from this fair started. So these are my paintings. The smaller ones are basically the whole series are pictures of offertory flowers from my mother's altar at home. I painted them before she threw them out. The smaller paintings, like these ones, are semi-wilted flowers placed on top of plastic tablecloths, which are very common in our area. So I find the juxtaposition of real flowers versus the printed images of very ripe fruits and flowers in their prime, in contrast with the wilted flowers, interesting. So, and then this image is of flower on my mom's altar. So painted as is, but I just blew them up because I like the scale of it. And that's it.
Thank you, Jonathan. Our third presenter, last presenter for this panel is Jigger Cruz, a visual artist known for his tactile, and tactile is an understatement in this case, and sensorial paintings, employing techniques such as impasto, cutting, burning, and spray painting on the canvas and frames. His paintings are an investigation of the materiality of painting. At the same time, their subject matter, ranging from the burden of history to religion, addresses social and political concerns in the contemporary Philippines. We compiled some slides for Jigger, but I think, well, I've asked him to just give an overview of his practice and the series that he is prepared for Art Fair Philippines. Jigger?
Good afternoon. My name is Jigger Cruz. I was born in Malabon, and I grew up there, and I started my art practice since when I was young as a I don't know, it's like a hobby lang talaga. So now I'm doing my recent works downstairs. So that's the new style that I'm trying to develop. It's a bit far away from what I usually do. And I wanna. Sorry, I prepared some text. Like, for me, it's embarrassing to say that my works are far away from being academic, and I cannot even explain my work as well. But I just want to be honest about it. And I'm trying to contextualize my language in being violent in the technical aspect of painting. I enjoy the mixture of perfection and disorientation of layers. I want to create curiosity that, for me, it's like a journey when I paint. I enjoy the problem solving while doing the works. And I want to be romantic pa rin as a painter. I really enjoy using oil paint as my material. So for me, it's something sacred and spiritual. And this is my language, how to express my expression. So it's like how we always wake up in the morning. It's like a routine. It's not an obligation. It's not a responsibility to create. But for me, it's something to do it just for myself. And but I still manage to. I still want to manage this technique to be precise and to be precise without the calculation and formulation. So yeah, these works are more minimal from my previous works. And for me, I see it as um, as a never-ending process because I never use sketch. I never used any plans when I start. So it's very organic as a painter. So I started to not to think that much and to be myself with the. I'm trying to forget all about the history of painting, theoretical part of being an artist. And I enjoy being, like what I said from the previous interviews, I enjoy being like a kid in front of the canvas. So I have nothing to prove to everyone, and I just want to share my language. And for me, I consider myself a bad artist if I can be able to unfold the mystery behind it. Mm, for me, the more it makes me feel curious, the more I like it. Yeah, basically, I'm really obsessed with the material. The flesh, it's my fetish. I love the way how it goes. I love the way how it reacts. The gestural part of my process. I love the way how it smells. I love the way how it drips and it's smudge. So I love all the accidents, and I love the way how I break all the rules of making a proper painting, but in a way I just want to make a perfect picture what I see. Like even me, I couldn't even explain what it is. So, and I like it. I'm not a storyteller. I'm not. I'm not a narrator or. It's not even narrative, but for me, it's an expression. And I'm just like a normal artist who paints every day. So, it's like a drink. It's like I'm drinking water every day just to survive. So, and yeah, something like that.